I'm Vanessa Chavez.
And I am David Chavez.
We've been together since we were 17 and married, gonna be 14 years. And we have six kids, five boys and one girl. No, I didn't grow up in the church. I was raised Catholic, so I didn't know the Lord Jesus like that. My parents, yes, they're married, but I saw abuse growing up with my parents, and um, it really distorted my view of marriage. And actually was like, if this is what a husband does to a wife, then I'm gonna be the opposite. I'm gonna be the runs the show. I'm gonna be the one that calls the shots, and I will never let that happen to me. And so uh the devil tried to use that to destroy me, to switch roles, and for me to be the dominant one, and not submit, and not even know how to love my husband.
Well, I grew up without a mom or dad. Like they I got taken away by my grandma when I was small, and I didn't know how to show love to my wife or my kids because I didn't have that father figure or mother figure in my life. So my grandma used to have a patio, and we had church in there. I used to play the drums for the church when I was small. And then it was probably when I was like 15, and that's when my mom finally got custody of us because she changed her life and everything. And then that's when my life just started spiraling down because when I was in junior high, I started hanging out with the wrong people and stuff. And that was the first time I got locked up, was I was in juvenile hall. And then I got out, and then my grandma wanted to take me back, get custody back of me because she seen how I was being and stuff.
We met at 17 um, in high school, and we got together, and we had our first child at 18. I was so young. I didn't know how to be a mother. I didn't know how to love. I didn't know how to the being a mom, I guess, came naturally because I'm a woman, but the loving, the nurturing part, because like I said, I grew up in a household where the woman was abused, where the man should protect the woman was the one abusing, and I had to be the dominant one. I didn't know how to do the nurturing part with my son. I didn't know how to. I gave him what he needed, but that the aspect of nurturing and being gentle, I had no idea how to do that because I had this so many walls and so much. I was seeing things with a distorted view.
Well, when she told me that she was pregnant, I kind of treated her bad. Like, oh no, like I guess I wasn't ready for a child. She would tell me like, why am I acting like that with her? Because I even said, oh, is it my child and everything? I would tell her, but
And he came out looking just like him.
but
It was I just can remember partying. Like that's honestly what I remember all those years is partying and drinking. And I knew it was because when I got out of my mom's home, she was kind of strict. But when I got out of my mom's home and I went live with my husband, I had this freedom. So I tasted some freedom, and still with all those woundings inside, feeling like I could feel good because I was so miserable. Not with him, but like inside, there was things that were hurting me, and things that were in there. And drinking gave me that joy for that little bit amount of time, and that's why I drank so much.
just be watching the kids. Like, so she would go out, and then she would ask me if she could go out, and I would let her. Like, I really trusted her. I almost felt like I had too much trust in her because that's when I found out she was cheating on me. When I would let her go out, and I would still let her go out, thinking, oh, it was gonna change, like it was gonna be better, but no, it was getting worse and worse. When I would started getting angry at her because in my head, I was like, I'm here watching the kids, and you're out there doing your own thing, and I was getting angry. I didn't want to lose her. I just wanted to make her happy. So I would give her the privilege just to go out, and I would stay and watch the kids. And I had a lot of trust in her. I didn't trust nobody at all. I trusted her though, until she like did that to me. It just hurt me.
And that is what the Lord showed me too. Like when you are in your ugliest moments, he was there. Like he loved you.
I even started doing roids. Started shooting
Oh my
roids, and
goodness.
I think it even made it worse because we still had that in the back of my head with her. And
Definitely worse.
I wanted, I just wanted to fight everybody, even my own friends. And like I was just,
I would pull up to drop off the kids, and he would run outside and start just breaking the car apart. Like literally, like I would call him the Hulk. Like the side mirrors would just snatch it right off. I'm like,
why didn't I like hit her and do stuff like that to her? Like why? But it's because, like you said, I didn't want to hurt anybody.
we separated, and I actually left the house, and the kids stayed with him. And at the time, I was a heavy drinker. I was a party girl. I left and I stayed with a friend, and I really went downward, like a downward spiral. I started using cocaine and really fell into depression. At the time, me and my husband, we hated each other. Well, I felt like I hated him. Like there was, at the time, I didn't think that I would ever get back with him. Like I wanted nothing to do with him. It was so toxic. And I was depressed, and I was so sad to even see the sunrise every day. Like I would just have this thing in me that I didn't want to open my eyes because I didn't want to live anymore. And I didn't even have communication with my husband. Um, but when that happened, when I was going through that depression, I didn't know who to reach out to no, because I literally wanted to die.
When I did go file for divorce, I would hear people tell me, "Oh, she's out there just like really doing her thing, being with guys and stuff." And I know I should not believed all them, but I still did. And I said, "Oh, it's just time for me to go do it," because I knew that was gonna hurt her more. I just wanted her to feel what I was feeling. So I go file for divorce, and God didn't want that. When we went to court, all the hearings were going, and people were going in front of us. We were the last one, and the judge like dismissed and told us to come back. I know it was God that did that, because right after that, we dropped the case. Like we didn't go through. We didn't go through it to get divorced or anything. So I knew it was God that had the judge stop it and told us to come back.
Something in me reached out to my husband when at the time I wasn't even really talking to him. And I reached out to him and I said, I'm really going through this. I don't want to live anymore. And we were both not serving the Lord at the time. But I remember my husband saying to me, "You know what we have to do? We have to go to church." And I was in such a dark pit that I told my husband, "I don't even think God can help me." But I was willing because I was so desperate. So I think it was like a day later, 2 days later, he took me to church. I went up to the altar. I surrendered my life completely, did a 360, and has been sold out for the Lord ever since. And stopped drinking a couple weeks later. I think it was after church, after me going up to the altar and doing a complete 360, that literally I did a 360. The next day, I went into the secret place, started praying and worshiping, and it was a daily thing for me. I had to do that. And we discussed that if we got back together when we were going to do this, that we were going to leave the past behind and move forward. And he agreed. But Then I continued on my path because I was on fire for the Lord, and he stopped going to church. And so then he just didn't want to do with, like, he didn't want to go to church. He wanted nothing to do with church. He had trust issues, so that was something we had to work out, because we came into an agreement.
Yeah.
In my understanding, when I said that, I meant it. I don't even care. I didn't even care what he did in the past, because I chose to move on from that. That I already forgave him. I was gonna move on. And there was years that me and him had conflict because he still had trust issues, or he had anger or towards me and would take it out on me. And he wouldn't go to church, and I would.
Yes, I was happy that she came back and everything, but it was like in my head, it's like, oh, now you want to change. Now you want to be this wife that you should have been.
Like,
And it was making me mad. Like, why do you want to change now? And we could have had this at the beginning. So it was making me mad, and that's when I didn't want to like go to church or do nothing like that.
the Lord had to teach me to be a woman, to be a wife, and let him be the leader, and stop nagging him, and love him. And even when he doesn't go to church, not nag him about it, just love him. Um, so I had to do that for the Lord to step in. I had to let go of my husband so that he could step in and work with my husband. And when I did that, when I truly did that, surrendered my husband, and stopped trying to control things, the Lord, like,
It was hard for me to show love to them. So when my wife left me, in the back of my head, I was thinking, oh, it was because I wasn't showing love, because that wasn't in, like, I didn't get that from nobody until I started going to church. And when I surrendered everything, just everything, my whole life to God, that's when I felt the Father's love. And that's when I could have started showing my kids love how I wanted to, and then even my wife.
the Lord actually gave me a revelation um, when I came back home. And he revealed to me that I couldn't accept my husband's love because I was abused by men. So I had that trauma against men, and even when he was showing me love, I didn't know how to receive it. But the Lord showed me that even with his flaws, that the Lord ordained him for me to be married to me, and that he was an image of Christ, and how Christ doesn't give up on the ones he loves. And that's, he was an image of Christ for me, as being that unconditional love. Like, I was out there doing like what I was doing, and he still was at home having that hope, like, my marriage, I will have my marriage back, I will have my wife back. And at the time I wasn't even thinking like that. And that's such in the image of Christ. And that's what the Lord showed me, that that's what I needed. I needed a man that was gonna love me like Christ, even in my darkest days, in my darkest times. But praise God, I mean, he restores all things. He restores innocence. He restores marriages. He restores our role in who he created us to be. So